Most of y'all just piss me off. Stop the clock, y'all tick me off. Move along, y'all drifting north. 3, 2, 1, I'm lifting off. Grab the mic, let me speak. Most of y'all just cease to reach. Running from the heat I see. Rappers now too weak to teach. Talk about it. Funny how most of y'all walk around it. Need to do more than gawk and tout it. It's a dead issue, draw chalk around it. My turn, yo go. Yo stands so. Fight back, oh no, y'all too scared of popo. Tear gas and tasers, stun guns and lasers. Your favorite rappers at Jacob don't be dropping jewels so later.
And that was Concrete Jungle remixed by Lalo The Don, featuring Julius Smokes. Yes, that Julius Smokes that brought out Homicide and Ring of Honor back in the day. But before we get to him, we kick off the show with Eli Everfly.
It's the Ole One Two! It's the Ole One Two! It's the Ole One Two Wrestling Podcast!
How's it going, everybody? This is Jacob Grondy here for episode 20 of the Ole One Two Pro Wrestling Podcast here on WrestlingWithWrestling.com. My guest today, The Fly, Eli Everfly. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. It's kind of a rainy day here in North Carolina. How's the weather like in Los Angeles?
Los Angeles over here is really sunny, and it's hot. It's about like 80 degrees. Yeah, I love California. I love Los Angeles. The sun is always out. We have nice beaches, so I'm just really happy with it over here.
Nice.
I'm not a rainy type of guy at all. I love the sun.
I hear you. Me neither. Yeah, this is way to rub it in. Way to rub it in, man. But I got to tell you, the first time I saw you was when I went down to New Orleans for WrestleMania weekend. I got my ticket to Joey Janela's Spring Break, and you were part of the first match. Right away I took my buddy, who's a big WWE fan, but this was his first indie event, and you won him over right away coming out to Wu-Tang Clan. Was that your choice? Are you a big Wu-Tang fan?
I wouldn't say a big Wu-Tang fan, but I did listen to the Wu-Tang Clan a lot in high school, and that was one of the songs that one of my buddies who got me into wrestling, actually, that was one of his favorite songs, and we actually we're gonna start the wrestling journey together, and I just ended up going forward with it, and he didn't, but that was one of my favorite songs, so it's kind of symbolic to I guess just how where I came from when I first started, But I really love the Wu-Tang Clan, man. I always post about me bringing my Wu-Tang style everywhere I go. So the Wu-Tang Clan is it's definitely on my list of things I listen to throughout the week.
Nice. And I mean, in this match, it was a 6-way match. I mean, you wrestled Teddy Hart, DJ Z, former guest himself, Gringo Loco, Kyle Beast. This right here, I would say, very underrated match. You won with, was it a Canadian Destroyer off the top?
Yeah, it was a double underhook Canadian Destroyer.
Yeah, which the Louisiana State Athletic Commission banned that move. So did you get some shit for that, or were they not watching Joey Janela's Spring Break?
The whole story behind that. I already went into that. I went to WrestleMania weekend with the intentions to break rules. And the funny thing about all this is that I told GCW promoter Brett Lauderdale that I was going to do it, and he just told me to do it, but they can't really enforce anything. And if they do, then they would just have to deal with the GCW staff sitting here. So he was really protective when it comes to me, or the whole talent in the back, especially Pentagon Jr., who was giving chair shots to Nick Gage's head and everything, and stuff like that was banned too. So we were really protected. The story goes that Brett Lauderdale was talking to the head of the athletic commission over there, and for a few days they were just conversing, and he got to know him, and they were smoking cigarettes together, and then little by little he just convinced him to let certain things pass when it comes to the Spring Break show, because it was such a big draw and everything. And after the first match, after we went out, the staff knew that we were all professional and nobody was going to get hurt. So we just got the green light. Yeah. And after that, obviously I would post about me telling athletic commission to find me there because I just knew they weren't going to find me at all. Everything was good to go. So yeah, it was, and like every other promotion who like didn't follow that, like I could understand, but like GCW is all about like breaking the rules and being the renegade of the wrestling industry, the last outlaw. So I think it was really fitting to start off the spring break with that as a finish.
For sure. And I don't know if I said before, but this was, I think, one of my favorite matches of the weekend. When you guys went to the back, did you guys realize you had something special there?
We were like, actually when we were talking about it before, we were just telling each other that this is going to be a banger, we just felt it already right before the match. And especially all the guys that were working that match were extremely great. Like Gringo Loco was like one of the best, underrated luchadors, around. And like guys like DJ Z, especially Tony Depp, and all these guys are extremely well-rounded and they can adapt to any situation inside of the ring. So, I had a really good time just calling the match in the back, and we already knew it was going to be good. And when we came from the match to the back, we just felt really satisfied, and we're all slapping each other's hands, giving each other high fives because we knew we did something. We knew we set the bar for that night, definitely. So we were very satisfied.
Nice. And was this your first time meeting Teddy Hart?
No. Like I've wrestled him 2 other times before. One was over here in Southern California about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I wrestled him in a fatal 4-way at this promotion called Alpha Omega Wrestling in Victorville, California. And he's Teddy Hart. Comes out with back then he used to have Mr. Money with him and everything, and he used to date this wrestler named Machiko. So that's when I first met them. We went down a road trip together, and everything. So I got to really know Teddy Hart. He's a really, really genuine person. The second time I wrestled him, man, I can't even really remember. But I know for sure it was right before the spring break show. I had just finished wrestling him.
Nice. And WrestleMania weekend wasn't the only you've kind of gotten to showcase your abilities. You kind of broken out, I would say, this year. You also wrestled for GCW, and you wrestled Jack Evens, light heavyweight legend. I'm sure a big influence on you. How was that?
Yeah, Jack Evans was actually one of my favorite wrestlers growing up in high school. I first saw him at Wrestling Society X. I used to really be into Wrestling Society X on MTV. Especially because they had a bunch of unknown guys and you weren't able to see anywhere else, on television. But Jack Evans was one of those guys who just really stood out because he did things that I didn't even think that were possible inside of a wrestling ring. Just like watching his career, and then finally, when you meet your hero, that they're nothing like you expect. But Jack Evans was just about everything, man. He's really crazy, fun-loving dude. He's really out there, and he's one of the best inside of the ring. And just getting we wrestled in a fatal 4-way, but getting the chance to work with him was definitely on my bucket list of people I want to wrestle. And definitely, I would love to get a one-on-one with him, somewhere down the line. But yeah, he's one of the most innovative and best, the very best high flyers in our generation. So yeah, just going to GCW and experiencing all that and stepping in the ring with him was definitely something that I'll never forget, and hopefully I get to do it again. Yeah.
Nice. And I mean, you've mentioned it before, you were definitely a big wrestling fan growing up. What was your first memory of wrestling, and who was it? A family member? Was it a friend? How'd you get into it?
My first memory of wrestling. I think I was about 4 years old. I was in Kansas City at the time, visiting some of my parents' friends. And they had a son named James who became one of my best friends, and he was about 3 years older than me, and he was really into WCW, and because when you're a kid and you make friends with older kids, you just kind of just like what they like because you think it's cool. So yeah, he was really into wrestling, and he had all these figures and stuff, and I knew what wrestling was, but I never really like watched it. And the first time I saw wrestling, I remember it was Hulk Hogan versus Goldberg, and we were going around church and asking everybody who were they going for, Hulk Hogan or Goldberg, And I was going for Hulk Hogan because I had his figure,
For sure.
And he was going for Goldberg because Goldberg was just an ass kicker. And I remember falling asleep like on my mom's lap and waking up because James was like, "Hey, Goldberg is going to fight Hulk Hogan right now," and like. I don't really remember the match. The only thing I remember was people throwing things in the ring and Goldberg hitting the jackhammer and my heart just dropping. But that was the oldest memory I have of professional wrestling. But ever since then, I've been hooked. I've always watched professional wrestling after that. Yeah, it's always been a part of my life. It's always been an obsession. Yeah.
For sure. Did you stay with WCW? After you came back from Kansas City because they had more cruiserweights and everything on the show?
No. When I was a kid, I didn't really connect to like the professional wrestling styles. I was just, a child, so I was more intrigued by characters and larger than life attitudes. Like when I went back home and everything, you're a kid, so you can't really play with the television too much. But I remember when I was about like 5 or 6, my dad put on Raw in a hotel room. And like when wrestling was on, I would just start flipping out, and I would just get glued to the television. And I remember it was the first time I saw The Rock. And The Rock made me obsessed with wrestling because I was obsessed with him so much. But I first saw The Rock, and I remember he was in this feud with Ken Shamrock at like King of the Ring or something. And I just remember the way he talked. It made the match interesting, and it just the feud leading up to it. And I was like a huge Ken Shamrock guy because my dad loved ultimate fighting and everything, and he loved martial arts. And his idea was that a real fighter was going into the WWF, and he was going to kick everybody's asses. And now he's facing The Rock, this new guy. And my dad would just label The Rock as this new guy, but I really liked The Rock. And I was just intrigued by his character. And he wasn't a cruiserweight when I was a kid. I didn't really see things like that, like weights or like body types and stuff. The characters were what got me more involved in wrestling and stuff. So, I was glued to Monday Night Raw and Thursday Night SmackDown for years, man, like years and years. And then eventually I got into like TNA in high school, and I started getting into more independent wrestling, like Ring of Honor and all that jazz.
That's
but yeah.
Well, then a lot of people love wrestling as a kid and everything, but you took that extra step. You went and trained Joey Chaos, Robbie Phoenix. How did you get from being a fan to training with them?
Oh, wow. Well, growing up, during my whole adolescence, I did martial arts. I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 6 years. I'm a purple belt. I got like bronze at IBJJF Worlds and everything. So I used to compete all the time and stuff. And I was like in high school wrestling. I was a captain of my high school wrestling team in San Gabriel High School, class of 2011. So I did a lot of like martial arts, like kickboxing and stuff. I really wanted to be like an MMA fighter, but I really kind of figured out that it wasn't what I wanted to do. It was kind of what my dad wanted me to do. And when I turned 18 years old, I kind of just started fading away from all of that slowly, little by little. And right when I turned 19, I was going through a lot of, things that kids out of high school go through, not knowing what they want to do in life and stuff. And I've always just wanted to be a pro wrestler. I just never knew that I could. I never knew that there were schools that would teach you, and not nowhere where I live, definitely. I always thought that I would have to travel to like Kansas City or something to learn how to be a professional wrestler. So I guess like one, I remember I was given a flyer. I went to like SummerSlam 2009, and I was given a flyer for a professional wrestling school. But at the time, I was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and doing all this martial arts and stuff. So I remember I kept the flyer just because I knew that it was something I might have wanted to try, later on in life. So when I turned 19 and I stopped doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I wanted to have a huge life change, it just came to fruition, man, like that I have to be a professional wrestler. So I went online and I looked at professional wrestling schools, and I was ready to run away or, doing anything I could possibly do. But thank God that like there was a bus at the time that never like, you know, like I was riding a bike. So the bus right in front of my house dropped me off right in front of the Santino Bros dojo. All right. So first I took the bus and I just showed up. I didn't really say, I didn't really call or like give anybody a heads up. I just showed up to Santino Bros, and I remember seeing Robbie Phoenix and Hot Hog outside, and Hot Hog is huge, man. He's like 6'4", and at the time he was like 16 years old, and I thought he was like a 30-year-old man, and I was just thinking at the time, whoa, what am I doing? I'm walking into the land of giants, and I look like I'm 12 years old, you know, and I look young now, but back then I looked a lot more younger. For sure. I was like a 12-year-old kid. And I remember I walked into the dojo, and I think like luchadors are training at the time, and luchador training it's very secret. They don't want people watching, especially people who are new. So I walked in, and then Robbie he asked me if I had an appointment, and I told him I didn't, and he just pretty much turned me away. He said I had to leave and go take an appointment. So like that to me, I felt like they were trying to kick me out because I thought I looked like a kid or something. And, you know, it really like hurt me inside. But regardless of how I felt, I wanted to do it no matter what. So I fucking took all my money out of my, I'm sorry, can I cuss here?
Sure. Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay. Yeah. So I took all the money out of my savings, and I showed up the very next day. And the administrator, Sylvia, Joey Chaos's wife, who handles all the administration, I gave her the money. I just showed her the money, and I said, yo, I want to do this, and I have all the money right now to sign up. And she just brought out the clipboard, and the rest is history. I signed up, and I remember the first day, Robbie Phoenix was yelling at one of my friends, Biagio Crescenzo, chewing him out. And then Biagio was a kid back then. He was like probably like 16 years old, and his dad had to like watch the training sessions. So his dad was sitting down, and his dad was just laughing and having a whole crack at Robbie, laughing at him and telling Robbie to chop him and all this stuff. So I felt like I was really at home. It felt like a really homey environment. So that's how I pretty much got into professional wrestling. It was just that taking the initiative to actually just follow my dream. And even if I felt like I didn't fit in, I still wanted it bad enough to stick it out. So, you know, I think most of the time in anything in life, it always just takes that one step of faith, you know, that one leap of faith to get to the next level, to get to anywhere you want to get to, you know. So, yeah, and here I am now. Didn't ever think I would be here still. I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm like 5'3".
That's what I was just going to ask. Like, when you first started stepping out doing these shows around your area, were you getting like shit on by some older guys because of your size or anything like that?
It just depends. Yeah, depending on where I went. Like here in like Southern California, there's a huge lucha libre scene. Huge lucha libre scene, and everybody is kind of on the smaller side, for sure, under 6 feet. But yeah, like anytime I went to like Northern California or to Vegas, the styles are a lot different, you know. And there's more of like a TV style, and there's bigger guys who won't want to sell for you. People will give you squash matches, you know, when you first start, especially seeing how small you are and stuff, depending on the show you're on. And that's just from experience. Now I know what shows that I would cater to better, you know. But back then, you know, when you're a kid, you don't really know. You just kind of get any booking that, you know, you're given. But yeah, like I wouldn't say that people, it was kind of like a demerit. I think like being small is what makes me like special. You know, it's what makes me different, and it's attracting. Because I remember I used to wrestle for Championship Wrestling in Hollywood, and one of the writers was this guy. His name was Joe Schmo, and rest his soul, he's not alive anymore. But at the time, he would write the show, and he told me that I was an attraction. And I remember every time I would go out, I would just do my best, and I'd win over the crowd every single time. And I'd like to say that I would steal the show every single night I went there. And Joe Schmo would tell me that I was an attraction, and I really didn't understand what he meant until he really explained it to me. He said he wanted to take me to Japan because I was small, but I could do all these aerial maneuvers, and I did it really well, and I sold well for people. And he said that that was just something different, and it really it didn't really dawn on me until he told me, and I was watching my matches, and I felt like being small and looking like a kid was something that made me special, and it gave me something kind of like a lead over everybody else, because I feel like the fans they connect with people who are more realistic versus people who are like larger than life. Like when I was a kid, I loved Mankind. You know, Mankind was one of my favorite wrestlers just because he looked like just some fat dude and that's high. You know, but when he went out there, he gave it his all, and he got his ass kicked, and he kept getting back up, and he went through so much punishment, and we felt so much sympathy for him, and that's what I really connected with. I was intrigued by characters, but I connected with those characters that I felt were more like me. So I feel like, you know, as an individual, as a performer, I provide that for audience members who want that, you know. So when they watch professional wrestling. So, yeah, like the size difference is never really something that really struck me.
For sure, yeah. I definitely agree with what you're saying. And you said you were a big fan of Thursday Night, you know, SmackDown and Impact growing up. And early on in your career, up until recently, you've wrestled for Brian Kendrick's promotion, wrestling guys like Rocky Romero. How much Brian Kendrick famously trained, you know, Eva Marie, Ronda Rousey. So I'm sure you picked up a lot.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
Yeah, well, like, Brian has always been so good to me. You know, he's one of the trainers at Santino Bros. Brian is one of the trainers at Santino Bros. And I remember Joey Chaos, he first told me to show up to Brian Kendrick's class and just ask if I could train with him, because Joey's the type of guy who wants us all to learn from everybody and take the good and the bad and whatever we could apply to our craft. He doesn't really hold us back from learning. So he told us to go to Brian Kendrick's class, meet my friend Donnie Suarez. So we showed up to Brian Kendrick's class, and I just ended up taking the whole course. It's like going through wrestling school over again. I did that twice, you know, and just by showing up and, you know, talking to Brian, we established a pretty good relationship, and he realized how dedicated I was and how good I was getting. So he like would bring me in to help train Eva Marie and stuff, have her bump me around. I was actually on like Total Divas. I think I don't know what season. I think it's like season 4, episode 9 or 10. I'm not too sure. But Eva Marie's like bumping me around and stuff. And I always got like a really cool little opportunities like that. Like I got to train with Ronda Rousey once while she was over here at the Santino Bros dojo. We taught like her like pro wrestling forearms and stuff. So like I've always been given great opportunities because of Brian Kendrick, and he's always looked highly of me and spoken highly of me, and he just everything he says is positive when it comes to Santino Bros and myself. And you know, I can just say the same thing back. And every time I wrestle for Wrestling Pro Wrestling, he's always just praising me, and you know, and he's such a really, really good guy. And like it's a privilege to know somebody like that you watched when you were a kid. You know, like I used to play freaking Raw versus SmackDown, and I used to pretend that I was Brian Kendrick, you know, and I could pretend he was in storylines and all this stuff. I think like Brian Kendrick was going to be like the next Shawn Michaels. I like was really into Brian's work, and Holland, and they were like one of my favorite tag teams growing up, definitely. So like just knowing Brian Kendrick, you know, and looking up to him as a kid, like now it's a very like warm feeling, and knowing where I'm at now and how far I've gotten. So yeah, like every time one of your heroes going up looks and thinks of you highly, I think it's one of the best feelings in the entire world.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, must be. A lot of people gave Eva Marie a lot of shit for wrestling. She's definitely not held to a high regard by many fans, but how was she training, and did she show you the same passion that you have when you were training?
Oh, woo! Well, she like... No, like Eva is she's a very, let's say, driven individual, and I think Eva, what she wanted more than anything was to be a superstar, regardless of how she did. Because I mean, she's sponsored by so many different brands of. Like cosmetology, but I don't know if I use the right word, but cosmetics. She's like, she's out there in the world doing different things besides wrestling, and I think it came to a point where she was really driven at first, but then I think after when she started realizing that she could do other things, then I guess that passion in her kind of like slowly started fading away. I mean, she's not signed anymore, and you know, usually when people get released they still keep the dream alive, and they still wrestle on the circuit, you know, and that's just people who really want to do this. And I guess most of those people have grown up and watched wrestling, you know, and had that passion like just instilled inside them like a seed at a young age, like guys like me. But I mean, people join wrestling for so many different reasons. Some people join it just to get in the ring. Some people just want to be a part of the WWE. Some people just want to have a bloody match with their best friend like I did, you know. So people join wrestling for different things, and there's no reason to knock anybody down for it. I know a lot of us are more passionate about it than others, but, you know, I believe the wrestling is amazing, and you can fall in love with it later on in life. And I think that happened to Eva Marie, but it just, you know, like when you're given certain opportunities on the platform she was given, and opportunities in life in general, you're going to take, you know, what's going to be best for you and your career. So yeah, she had a lot of passion when she first started, and I had a really fun time training her. I trained her for like 3 months. It was really fun, you know, but I mean, it sucks seeing, you know, somebody you helped train not doing it anymore, but at the same time, it was still a really good experience, and it's always a fun and it's a learning experience for the people who are teaching it as well. So I don't have any regrets at all. I hope she come back, to be honest. But yeah, it's all about passion and how you want to do it. It's a really tough business.
I definitely understand that. But then someone who is still doing it that you trained or helped train, Ronda Rousey. I mean, she did really well at WrestleMania. She was just on Raw last night. Do you see that drive and that passion in Ronda?
Yeah, you see, that's when it comes to people like Ronda, like they have something that other people don't have, like a person like Eva doesn't have, and that's the tenacity to be the best in the world. At one point, Ronda Rousey was the UFC champion. That means you are better than everybody else in the whole fucking world. You work the hardest more than everybody else in the whole world, because you can't get to that level and you can't be at that point in life and not be the best at something. So she knows how to be the best at something, and that's something that, like, you know, others don't have. You know, a lot of people just join, they don't know how to be the best at anything because they never have. And somebody like Ronda, she knows what it takes to get extremely good. She knows what it takes to be the best. So she knows how to put in the hours. She knows what she needs to do. And we saw that, like, right away. We saw that the first few sessions. I was there for, like, her third pro wrestling session in general, you know, and it just clicked with her, you know. Everything just clicked with her, especially since she knows how to use her body. She knows bodily movements because of martial arts and everything. So it's not like we have to teach her how to roll. We have to teach her how to do this. She knew a lot of things coming into it. It was just building a foundation to create her own craft, you know, and to exploit her, you know, her mixed martial arts background, but in, you know, in a good way that makes sense. That also puts over, you know, professional wrestling. Yeah, but like people like Ronda are very special people, you know, and when you train people for a while, you see that right away, you know. But that's the thing, you never really know who's going to make it and who's not, because it's up to the person to have that passion, and Ronda definitely does, because you see where she's at right now, you know, and how great she did at WrestleMania. And you don't get that good that quick by not working hard. And Ronda's one of those special people who knows what it takes to get to that top level. And she's trying to do that in professional wrestling. And I believe she is, because, you know, she's a very special human being.
Just to wrap things up here, you wrestled on PWG. Being from Southern California yourself, what did that mean to you?
Oh, wow. That meant the world. When I first started training in professional wrestling, I didn't really have too many goals. I never wanted to sign with the WWE. I've only wanted to have a really good match with my best friend and have the crowd chanting my name. And when as training went by, I wanted to be the best, one of the best wrestlers in the country. That was my goal. And, watching independent wrestling and watching PWG all the time and Ring of Honor, those are like the two places that I wanted to be. And like more than anywhere else, I wanted to be in PWG because I knew the best wrestlers in the country and even the world at some point wrestled for PWG, and for the longest time, because I am from Southern California, Wrestling Guerrilla wasn't hiring wrestlers from Southern California. What the reason for that is, I have no idea. But for the longest time, they weren't. And it took one of our guys from Santino Bros, like Brody King, he broke the mold. And he just recently wrestled at All-Star Weekend on both nights, teaming up with another one of our guys, Tyler Bateman. But yeah, they Brody King showed the PWG, broke that mold, and after that, because he was so impressive, even being a local guy, so impressive. He had such a great reaction at his debut too, from the fans, and like a lot of people say that it's one of the best, the best debuts and reactions from a debut, besides All-Star Weekend in PWG history. So, from that alone, it opened the doors for four of us, Jake Atlas, Douglas James, Brody King, and myself, to wrestle in this fatal four-way in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. And, it was just so surreal to me because this is the place this was like kind of like me getting signed. To other people, getting signed might be something else, but to me, this was like my moment, because PWG is the place I always saw myself wrestling, and I always told myself, as long as I wrestle for PWG, I could retire happy, and and then they had the show at the Globe Theater, so it kind of didn't feel too much like PWG because it wasn't in Reseda, and I always saw myself wrestling in Reseda. Like if I dreamt about it, it was always in Reseda, but the Globe Theater is so nice, and it kind of had this like old ECW feel to it, especially because the audience is just ruthless. The audience is just ruthless, and it was just an amazing experience, and that's off my bucket list now. And and anybody who's successful in anything, they always want to take it to the next step. So now I'm thinking just like, what's next? What do I do next? Where do I want to wrestle next? I definitely would love to come back to PWG, but I guess we're just gonna see what's gonna happen, man. But just for sure, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla was an amazing experience.
Awesome. And if someone wanted to reach out to you and talk to you online, how would they do so?
If somebody wanted to reach out to me and talk to me online, they can always hit me up on Twitter, at Eli Everfly. They can Instagram message me at Eli Everfly. If anybody wants to book me, or hire me for anything in general, you can just email me at elierfly@gmail.com. Really, I mean, Facebook isn't the best option because I just have so many friend requests. It's flooded with thousands right now. I just if you friend request me on Facebook, there's a good chance that I'm not gonna confirm it. But so the best platform to hit me up on is Twitter, Instagram, or via email.
Awesome. Well, it's amazing talking to you. Appreciate you jumping on the show, Eli.
Yeah, man. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And there you have it, guys. Had a great time talking to Eli Everfly. And if you like what you heard, go back and listen to past episodes, soundcloud.com/JGProWrestling. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Talk to me on Twitter at JGProWrestling, Instagram JGProWrestling. So without further ado, here is Concrete Jungle Remix by Lalo The Don featuring Burns Luciano and Julius Smokes. And right after that will be the Julius Smokes interview here on the Ole One Two Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Most of of y'all just piss me off. Stop the clock, y'all tick me off. Move along, y'all drifting off. 3, 2, 1, I'm lifting off. Grab the mic, let me speak. Most of y'all just cease to reach. Running from the heat I see. Rappers now too weak to teach. Talk about it. Funny how most of y'all walk around it. Need to do more than gawk and tout it. It's a dead issue, draw chalk around it. My turn, yo go. Yo stance, so. Fight back, oh no, y'all too scared of popo. Tear gas and tasers, stun guns and lasers. Your favorite rappers at Jacob don't be dropping jewels, so later they unheard, they unseen. This generation's Chuck D. Really, is it just me? Might as well be us three. Not about them hands up. Each of us just man up. Serve and protect, choking our necks, no murder arrest. Stand up, taller than Sir Barkley. Around the hoodie in black. Lyrically, literally, liberty, justice for all that react. Facts.
Welcome to the Jungle Brothers, ready to rumble. Guns and Roses were chosen, so which one you holding?
You not about that life, don't believe the hype.
Concrete Jungle, the sequel, cause they don't see us as equals. Welcome to the Jungle Brothers, ready to rumble. Guns and Roses were chosen, so which one you holding?
You not about that life, don't believe the hype.
Concrete Jungle, the sequel, cause they don't see us as equals.
I live in down the South Bronx, home to Tigers and Lions. I'm throwing up the X like my name was Headz Brian. My name is Julius Smokes, the double son-in-law. That mean I got a serpent strapped in my drawers. I'm the American dream, black Dusty Rhodes. No justice, no peace, here goes my blood flow. Why NYPD like to stare me down? They wanna beat me down cause I'm brown. Choke holes to leave my family with a permanent frown. But why we gotta be that way? Didn't Martin Luther die for our sins that day? For all you dummies wanna talk about this morning. For all you dummies you could be about that morning. Hip hop gangsters dip their horny. Put up your hands, put out your guns. You wanna go for the steal? And I'm only smoking blunt bills. My name is Julius Smokes, is in my DNA. Bob Marley, Malcolm X, and Class is Clay.
Welcome to the Jungle Brothers, ready to rumble. Guns and Roses were chosen, so which one you holding?
You not about that life, don't believe the hype.
Concrete Jungle, the sequel, cause they don't see us as equals. Welcome to the Jungle Brothers, ready to rumble. Guns and Roses were chosen, so which one you holding?
You not about that life, don't believe the hype.
Concrete Jungle, the sequel, cause they don't see us as equals.
You don't want no beef with a nigga like me in the concrete jungle, even dead in the streets. Fuck the police, they ain't got no love for a nigga like you or me for the streets. Say, yo, my man, here you go again. All you do is harass me and my friends. Police be watching us like a hawk. What the fuck you mean I'm the king of New York? I keep them looking. Pretty ass nigga, these bitches love it, yo. They see me walking down the block, their eyes pop like a modeling. Supermodel thug, nigga. Ghetto superstar, nigga. Every day I'm on that block, we hold it down like the mob, nigga. Strapped up like all the time, niggas don't see me when I'm creeping, yo. Dress up like police when I rip and run. Leave your brains up on that sidewalk floor, please. You don't want to beef like that and everyone know where the fuck we at. Plus babies dying on streets from gats and police killing them innocent cats. Fuck the law, they ain't got love for us, so they ain't no love, my nigga. Fuck that, we don't got love for the police killing them innocent victims. We here now on the block today, gone tomorrow, probably shot in the face. Police, man, love locking us in the cages, just that life in the jungle, man.
Welcome to the Jungle Brothers, ready to rumble. Guns and Roses were chosen, so which one you holding?
You not about that life, don't believe the hype.
Concrete Jungle, the sequel, cause they don't see us as equals. Welcome to the Jungle Brothers, ready to rumble. Guns and Roses were chosen, so which one you holding?
You not about that life, don't believe the hype.
Concrete Jungle, the sequel, cause they don't see us as equals.
Lalo The Don, thug gentlemen.
How's it going, everybody? This is Jacob Grondy here for the 012 Pro Wrestling Podcast here on WrestlingWithWrestling.com. My guest today is a bit of a jack of all trades, musician, wrestling manager. How you doing, Julius Smokes?
What's goody, baby? How you do?
I'm doing good, man. Here, the sun's popping out of the clouds here in North Carolina, you know, so can't really complain.
Hey, same shit, different tone that I way, man. You know how we do.
Nice. And I wanted to say, you were in the early days of Ring of Honor, you were the manager of the Rottweilers here and you were known for being, really charismatic on the mic and everything. Was that something that you had to kind of learn, or were you always a talker? Were you always, kind of have a good stage presence?
Hip hop is in my DNA and wrestling is in my DNA. I've been watching wrestling since 78, 77, Mid Atlantic wrestling. You know what I mean? Ric Flair, Blackjack Mulligan, Steel Cage, Ray the Crippler Stevens, the whole 10 yards, you know what I mean? So that's where it's at, man. Well, literally.
Nice. Who got you into wrestling at such an early age?
Hey, growing up in Virginia, North Carolina, that particular area, you know what I'm saying? When I was younger, that's where I was at. So it was on TV 24/7, TBS, Channel 13, everywhere else you could turn. You know what I'm saying? So it was just naturally just to watch it, and I loved it.
Nice, yeah. Being from the Carolinas.
Plus, I was going to the shows too. It was doing like Mid Atlantic Wrestling was doing shows at the high schools in Virginia. You know what I mean? So I was able to see the Great Kabuki, Junkyard Dog, Sweet Ebony Diamond, all of them, yo. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. And
let's go.
So
come.
So who stood out to you when you were watching that? Was it Ric Flair? Was it Dusty Rhodes? Who was your favorites back then?
The World Tag Team Champions, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Jake Youngblood.
Nice.
You know what I mean? They basically stood out because they had a war going against Soldier Slaughter and Don Cornado. You know what I mean? So that captured my imagination. Also, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, every time he grabbed the mic, he lit up. You know what I mean? He was just straight, wow. I mean, he captured your imagination too. So that's what it was, Joe. Dusty Rhodes, forget about it, man.
Well, then,
that's white chocolate right there. You know what I mean? White chocolate.
How did you go from being just a fan in Virginia watching Mid Atlantic territories to training with Homicide? How did that go about?
Well, I was born in the BX, you know what I'm saying? But, I got a large family, military family, so we ended up in Virginia for a quick minute, you know what I mean? And after that, I moved to New York, which I was already born in New York, family already up here. And just connected with them through Reno, Puerto Rico, like in 95, 96, when I was linking up with Lalo The Don for the Urban Wrestling Federation. For the Urban Wrestling League at that particular time. Lalo The Don. You know what I mean?
I hear you. And from that point on, you guys just hit it off?
Yeah, it was poetry in motion. It was like peanut butter and jelly, Platinos and collard greens, they go together, and Puerto Ricans and blacks, we roll together here in New York, man. That's how it is, Latino nation, man, and everything else. And we just hit it off, yo. We just had the same drive about the business. Low Key was he was also there too. That's where I met Bobby Lombardi at. And that's what they really in TOT and Low Life Louie, Jay Lover, the list goes on, man.
I hear you. And then when you hear about ECW going under, WCW going under, and then there's this company Ring of Honor coming up, kind of trying to be a super indie at the time, and you guys link up with them. Did you expect it to blow up to what it is today?
Blessing in the skies, man. Wow, yes, absolutely. The expectations was basically with me. I just seen them started off as a young company, but they had high aspirations, and basically with the wrestlers behind the scenes and everybody that they booked, they wanted to have 5-star matches or better. You know what I mean? It was just pure athletes there. They just wanted wrestling back, and Ring of Honor captured that imagination for the fans after ECW went out of business. You know what I mean?
Low Key, Homicide, you guys are all kind of young at this time, traveling around the country. Ring of Honor's popping off. I bet that was a pretty wild time for you guys. Do you have maybe a story or?
Just basically Low Key, just the ultimate businessman, just recognizing that he wanted to get the T-shirts and everything out before the powers that be make a decision on what to do with the merchandise and all that. And he just wanted, we were selling out Rockwaller merchandise before the shows even started. You know what I'm saying? You know, Lil Key is a entrepreneur all the way. You know what I mean? And he wanted to take it to a whole different level. He always had that business mind. And also, when it came down to the homicide, I mean, if you show loyalty, you're going to go a lot of places with these dudes, man. That's what it's all about in this industry, loyalty.
For sure. And then one night that this loyalty really came into play was the Ring of Honor first anniversary show, Steve Corino versus Homicide. There seemed to be, just like kind of, a good wrestling show. Samoa Joe comes out, and Steve Corino, Joe are attacking Homicide. You and a few others jump the rail, and it just looks like a melee. Like, I'm not sure. Could you take us back?
Rod Clyde, Come. Oh, hell yeah. That's when the gates of hell opened. Literally that night, he was going to get Steve Corino. You know what I mean? And the Elks, at the Elks. You know what I mean? And that took place in Queens, New York. I remember that night. Definitely. And it was real. You see what happened out there, yo? People was throwing haymakers and everything else, yo. It was teeing off on each other. That was MMA before MMA was even thought about.
Oh yeah,
literally.
I gotta say, I watched it the clip several times before this interview.
The best in the world.
Yeah,
that's what the Ring of Honor was to me at that particular. The best in the world, and they still do anything with the young talent they have out there right now. It's a youth movement.
For sure, and
I like it.
Samoa Joe definitely showed that he could really go in that clip, taking down several guys, choking them out. C.W. Anderson kicking people. It was definitely a wild. It looked like a wild experience.
Got your girl knuckle up. You know what I mean? Literally, wherever dojo you came from, you better recognize and rep it. Because I know the doghouse. We the bottom of the gutter, from the rooter to the tutor. So we was there just to protect what was in the ring, man. That was Homicide at the time, man. Loyalty.
Hell yeah. And then it looked like during that same era, you said you grew up on Mid Atlantic Wrestling, grew up on Dusty Rhodes. You actually teamed with Dusty Rhodes against, I think, Jack Victory, C.W. Anderson, Steve Corino.
People don't know. I made it already. I never wanted to go to the WWE. Nothing like that. That was nothing in the plan. When I got in the Ring of Honor, it was like, I felt I made it already. This was it. I mean, some people use it as, as a stepping stone to go other different areas or use it as a promo reel. That was it for me. I felt that it was pro wrestling at its best. And Dusty Rhodes, come on. That was an amazing night, man. Rest in peace, Dusty. I love you, baby. Straight up.
For sure.
Stardust! Dusty Rhodes!
Did he do a lot with you, with the younger talent at the time? Like maybe giving a little bit of knowledge? I know he later helped out with NXT, but at that time, was he helping the young Ring of Honor locker room out backstage?
He passed the knowledge basically whenever he was booked on the show and stuff like that. But the person that really put his DNA on the locker room, really, I thought it was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. You know what I'm saying? He just basically talked about how the first match and how the main event and everything should be, and then just basically the psychology, just sitting with him in Chicago and different Detroit, places like that, yo. It was, wow, just kicking Ricky the Dragon Steamboat brain was incredible. Dan Moff was he was also in the hotel room when he was there. We had a ball that night, man. Love you, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Oh, yeah. Do you feel like with the popularity and the growth of Ring of Honor that it's kind of lost a little bit of its edge it had back in the day, going to these places where Dusty Rhodes is coming out, riots are happening? Do you think it kind of lost a little bit of its edge, or do you think that just came with growth?
Well, scare money make no money. Basically at the same time they have a new owner of the company that's been running it for the last 6 years or 10 years, right? I forgot how many years the guy been running it. How many years has it been? I don't know. Since Kerry sold the company.
I think it was like 2012, 2010 maybe. So 8 years.
I like the common ground of progress they basically making. You know what I'm saying? I like when Jay Lethal was the champion. direction that was going on with that. The Young Bucks is tearing it up. You got Dusty Rhodes there. You know what I mean? And his notoriety is this bananas. You got to milk that like a buttermilk biscuit. And, you know, just recognizing the old school that helped them get where they were at. That's the only part. I mean, having the Rockwallers there, you know, come through a couple of shows, that'd be a good thing. You know what I'm saying? But, or the Vulture Squad. You know what I mean? That's one thing I see missing.
Do you,
What's up, First Now? We love you, baby. The embassy, too, yo. He tore it up, yo. Come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
Ring On the Go Ages with the bananas, man.
For sure, for sure. You did mention the Vulture Squad. That was, you know, your the second faction you were a part of. How did that all come about? Ruckus, Jack Evans, Jigsaw. I mean, all three of those guys kind of have a similar style. How did that all get
Chocolate
together?
Vulture. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. My Booty Vulture, Martinez. You know what I'm saying? Jigsaw, the masked one. You know what I'm saying? And White Chocolate. Let's go. Jack Evans. That basically came about, I know that after some of the Ring of Honor wrestlers signed exclusive contracts with TNA at a particular time, you know, they wanted to basically put me in another power group, something like that. They got Jack Evans, you know, and us to form this group together, and it made it happen.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And I was also wondering, you know, you make music, Rocky Romero makes music, but I couldn't see a collaboration. It seems like a no-brainer. You guys should get together.
Absolutely. My Cuban brother from another mother. Absolutely, man. Yo, nothing but respect and aspirations out to the dude, man. I mean, come on, man. Rocky doing his thing, my dude. I mean, that's what it's all about right there. I mean, we dynamically put together, and his music is where it's at right now.
For sure. But someone you have collaborated with a lot is Undu Kadi. He's famous for his Shade 4-5 freestyle, rapping on Rap Is Out of Control. How did you guys link up together and start making music together?
Oh, that's my cousin.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. That's my blood cousin, my first cousin, Undu Kadi, Undu Barnett. You know what I'm saying? He lives out in Boston right now, but he's originally from the South Bronx. Melrose Project, 153rd, 155, Cortland Avenue. You know what I'm saying? And the Killing Fields, 9.5. I just put it to you like that, yo. Good guy, good family man, and we've been doing it for a quick minute. And I started Buddah Headz Records with Anthony Fillmore. You know, he used to be one of my bodyguards, managers that come out with me in the doghouse when I was wrestling full time at that particular time. You know what I mean? And you see, that's our family together. We all flow together. You know what I mean? I don't deal with anybody from the outside, dude. No outsiders. No Kevin Nash. No, we stop. No, my love for the big man, though.
For sure. So you said, just like you said, wrestling was in your blood. You said rap was in your blood. What, like, when did you first realize, like, you were just going to be more than just, like, a fan diving into rap? You were going to make it. You were going to start Buddah Headz Records. How did that all come about?
Well, I was doing talent shows ever since I was younger. You know, I was doing talent shows in Virginia. Then I came up to New York City and lived up here full time. I lived on the same block as DJ Scott La Rock. You know what I mean? For Boogie Down Productions, man. And that was a blessing in disguise. And my sister, Melissa Smokes, she was a Zulu queen. And she was also down with Boogie Down Productions. You know what I mean? So that's how I got in. Rest in peace, Scott La Rock, baby.
Hell yeah, hell yeah! And you can get your music, Spotify, YouTube, pretty much everywhere you listen to music.
It's everywhere right now. That's what I'm saying. My music is available in all digital stores. You know what I'm saying? Spotify, iHeartRadio, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I even got it on a couple of radio stations out there, yo. You know what I mean? So definitely get that at. Literally.
Hell yeah! Well,
I'm viral. Ain't no turning back. Ain't no stopping us right now.
You mentioned that you like the Young Bucks and you like everything. Do you still watch like the WWE product?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of my brothers from the from the Ring of Honor is there. It's an alumni thing. You know, that's the only reason why I watch it. You know, Daniel Bryan is there. Wow, a couple of guys. Samoa Joe.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
AJ Styles.
Come on, yo. Hell yeah. AJ Styles. I mean, the list goes on. So, yeah, I watch those guys.
What do you think of the W style? You said you never really wanted to go there, but what do you think of the style as a whole?
Oh, no. I'm saying, not from a business standpoint. I mean, basically, hell yeah, I would want to be there. But I'm saying, growing up, watching the product in general, I was an NWA guy. So when I grew up, if anything, I wanted to be wrestling for Jim Crockett Promotions. You understand? But, or WCW at a particular time. I wasn't really, like, into the WWE like that. But on the business side of things, hell yeah. Definitely would love to be there right now.
For sure. You think you and
I turn it up. Absolutely. Literally. From the rooter to the tutor. My name is Julius J. Smokes, and I represent the NWA Head Coast in a dirty style. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thanks a lot, Julius, for jumping on the show.
Got you. Come. This is how we do, baby. It's live like that, yo. Literally. And we got, now we create wrestling here in New York City. You know what I'm saying? Basically, we sold out 2 shows already. And it's been bananas. The South Bronx is on fire right now for pro wrestling, man. Now we create. That's the name of it, yo. NYC Wrestling. Cash on deck. Absolutely. I manage Homicide and also manage Black G's there.
Nice.
New Rockwallers.
Well, hell yeah, Julius. I really do appreciate you jumping on.
Love is love. Thank you, man.
Yeah, no.
Thank you for having me on, yo. Literally.
It's the Ole One Two. It's the Ole One Two. It's the Ole One Two Wrestling Podcast.
Before we get out of here on episode 20 of the Ole One Two Pro Wrestling Podcast, I just wanted to say thank you to Taylor Bays and the Laser Rays for doing the theme song. And if you're ever looking for wrestling news, go to WrestlingWithWrestling.com, covering all 4 corners of the ring.